Peace, everyone. Welcome to House of Kemet. We are over here bridging the gap. There is a movement going on, and we are a part of the movement. Africans and African diaspora are coming together. House of Kemet presents Bridge the Gap. Africans and African diaspora understanding one another with Zimi Ekatafar and Diamond Israel.
Mr. Ashu,
Yeah.
I want to ask you, have you heard about the year of return?
Oh, the great year of return. A campaign launched by the Ghanaian people. I've heard about it.
Yes, the Ghanaian president Nana,
Yeah.
Mr. Nana Akufo. I don't think I'm,
Right.
I'm pronouncing it well, right? And yes, what do you think? What's your take on the year of return? What do you have to say about that?
When I sit back in the house and think about the whole concept of the year of return, it's it makes me shiver, you know. And why do I shiver? Is because I look at it in a spiritual context. It's
Beautiful.
not just about the physical coming back of our brothers and sisters in America, but it's something that has to do with, you know, your spirit being. It's like you are regressing something that was done to you. And I think if, and I know that our ancestors, our forefathers, who were beaten, trapped, and sent into America through that ship, knowing this is happening makes them feel very, very satisfied and fulfilled. Because if they had that chance to propel or find their way back to Africa, they would have done that. And believe me, when these men were being taken to America, they were humming, they were singing, some were grieving. That was the spiritual stuff. That is the ghetto spiritual, right? The black spiritual. So this is something that has got to do with your spirit being. And I think it's a very, very great opportunity for our brothers and sisters to come back to motherland, to come back to the road and feel and make a decision if this is where they really want to be. And believe me, any of them that take upon his or herself to come back to motherland, she will have no reason to go back where she is coming from. So it's a very, very great idea and a wonderful opportunity for our brothers and sisters to come back and find their place back home. I am talking to those who are into fashion. I am talking to those who are into engineering. I am talking to doctors. I am talking to whoever or whatever you are doing, brother. Please come back home and find yourself. Come back home and be a part of Africa. Come back home and connect with your spirit. It
Okay.
is an opportunity.
Okay. So there you talked about opportunities. You talk about the spiritual, breaking the spiritual barrier. Because we African people, I would say all humanity is a spiritual thing. But Africans, we are very, very tied up and linked to our spiritual, side. And that is what has been, certain forces have been working to disconnect, to destroy. And now we got ourselves worshiping a white Jesus or the Catholic Church trapping of of our ignorance and pimping of our people. You got all these clown so-called prophets in Africa that are instead of preaching awareness, teaching the people how to wake up and go and hustle, they rather tell them to come and pray in their church and shout or speaking in tongues, bakarabara, sharaba, all those bullshit. Sorry for cursing, but this is something that we see it a lot in Africa. You see churches everywhere. I'm not saying some people are not doing a great job, but we can count them. You understand? We have a lot of false prophets that are coming in to derail the community, and that is something we need to handle. But without going too deep into that, this may be a question I should have even asked before the year of return. But what do you know about African Americans or the diasporans in general?
That question, before now, if I haven't had an encounter with an American sister, I would give you the same, you know, answers that I had back before
Ster-
I met this woman.
Stereotypical.
Right.
Yes.
Believe me, those people, like I used to know, are very, very aggressive. And in Africa, we are supposed to be providers as men. We take care of our homes, provide, protect, profess, and do all those things that a man should do. But those brothers out there who do the reverse and let those sisters work, you know? So those were all my impression. Oh, these guys are gangsters, they are robbers, they are all of that. All the bad things that we could only pick on the movies that we watch when we used to be babies.
Yes.
Because that is the image that they want us to see and feel or think about our brothers and sisters out there.
False narratives and
You get it?
stereotypical, you know. Yeah.
So when I came to realize certain things, I just got to understand that these people are being pressured to take on a different image so that we can have a different narrative or perspective of who these people are,
Exactly.
which is their agenda.
And by doing that, they don't make you feel like you want to have something to do with this person.
Right.
You understand? They're trying to, push that, and it goes both ways. Because, I've heard a lot of diasporan people from the, diasporan family from the U.S. give their take on Africans too, and it's quite false. Like it's really not what we are or what we represent, and that is all due to the medias we don't own or control. And yep. So next, I want to ask you, what did you hear about the African Americans or the diasporans growing up? Did your parents have the time, or did they ever sit down and talk about them, or like try to tell you bad things about them, or like make you feel a type of way about them? Was this conversations that we had?
Um, Homes differ in Africa, and the one in which I come from, conversation is very, very easy with your elderly ones. Because back then, where your elders are seated, you are not supposed to be amongst their presence. And when they talk, you don't have to be,
Talking back.
contributing and stuff because you are not yet of that age to give in your views when they are having an elderly conversation.
Yes.
But then, with the case of my family, it was different. We talk, we share ideas, and we accept corrections. Um, the one thing that I know that I was told often by my elderly ones is all those women have guns. They will shoot you if you cheat on them. They will do this or that. They will break ditches and stuff. And I think they too got this from the movies that they used to watch. Because right now, most of them are based outside. And their idea about these same people that used to carry gun wherever they go has changed. You know? And let me tell you something. My fiance is an American,
African American.
African American. Her roots are from
Just for people to understand,
right.
with time we will
So
have to change that name.
so
We are Kemets. We are not Africans. So at the end of the day, we're just going through the process. Yeah.
so when I met this woman, the first thing that I told her is, I know you people out there are like this, are like that. You pick on everything, you fight on this, you break dishes. So please, this is not what I need. This is not who I am. A man leads from where I am coming from. You are my partner. If I say a man leads, doesn't make you my subject. We talk and do things together. We make decisions together. But there is a ladder in which we follow. Our Creator, a family, and a man is the head of that family, and it goes down. So we had this conversation, and the moment I put my fear through to her, she accepted and said, okay, this is what we are all struggling with. And I know if I get to tell my parents about you, they are going to be thinking that you are some poor guy from Africa who needs help. But both of us have that responsibility to change this mindset. I've got to talk to my mom about you, make her understand things that she does not know about you. That's a detailed conversation. I did the same thing with my parents. And luckily for me, my parents have been abroad for quite a long time. So the only questions that they asked me was, do you know this family so well? Are you sure about A or B about this family? These are the things that we need to pay attention to.
Okay.
You know?
Yes, so false narratives, stereotypical agendas being pushed forward by the media, which really helps to keep us apart, divide and conquer in the finest way, with finesse, I would say. But I'm happy also you were able to you said what you think without judging the sister, and she was able to let you know this is not what she represents. You understand? And from you were able to see how beautiful she was as a person, and that also helped you understand more. You
Right.
understand our people living in America, and even it also helped confirm the fact that the media does a great job in
Right.
demonizing our people,
Right.
in trying to give them false images that
Right.
doesn't represent an inch
Right.
of what they are or of who we are. And you see, she was also able to tell you like, hey, if I tell my parents about you, this is what they would think. You know, they might think like that, but you being in front of me, I see a total different thing, and you've been able to grow from there. So I think that is amazing. That is amazing. So yes, so I want to ask you this question: is it true that Africans hate African Americans, or should we even say those living in the diaspora?
Who said that?
I don't know. Somebody definitely said it because
Who
that is, I hear that a lot from our African American people.
who said that? Bro, um, this is, I should say, it's a wrong choice of word to use in describing the issue that we have with our brothers and sisters out there. There is no family without problems. Even in your house right now, I want to tell you, you disagree with your sister or your brother, but that does not mean you hate that person. Hate is what they are bringing between us. But I don't think, and I will never accept to this fact that we have hatred amongst us. We have differences, which is very, very normal. Hate is not the right word to use. We do not hate these people, but it's just because there is a fine line between us and us. I wouldn't say us and them, because if I say us and them, I am bringing in another difference between
Yes.
us. So it's us and us. There is a fine line. And what has got to fix this line is communication, this connection that we are trying to make, to clear out all these differences so they can understand. Because the one problem that I know is they have migrated from their original source and they were taken into a place that they don't feel comfortable about, they don't know anything about, and there's a mix of culture between them. And those things that we do not appreciate of them is the things that they have taken from where they were born, where they are currently. And that is where the differences are. But the moment we put a table and say, bro, this is how I feel, without being judgmental, I think we are going to fix all of this.
Okay. Well said. You actually said it quite. You nailed it. Because yep. I think it's just a lot of dialogue, a lot of interactions. That is why we need, as a community, maybe based in America, to organize cultural activities where our kids could come together, play. Our kids have to start relating, connecting, and exchanging from their tender age, because the kids, the African American kids that grew up with their African brothers, think totally different. You understand? Because they know each other. So it will be different. It will be difficult for, the even minded to step in and trying to push their wicked agenda. But nevertheless, yeah.
Talking about this connection, amongst kids, let me tell you something. My fiance has a daughter, and she would never say anything about Africa based on what her mother would tell me. She has never thought of going to Africa because she knew that, oh, Africa, when you go there, you have mosquitoes, you have zebras, you have snakes. She can't live her life down there. But the moment she visited me here in Athens, her mind or her perspective changed. And all she wants to do right now is, Marvin, please, let's go. So these things are very, very necessary. They are very, very necessary. We talk about culture. I've never met somebody like Omarion before. I never met Chris Brown before. I never met Tyrese Gibson before. But when those brothers sing, I feel African in them. I feel home in them. That is the connection.
The
That is the
soul,
blackness we are
the,
talking about.
the soul, the
We're talking
soul.
about, he talked about Kemet. That is the name back then that our people used to bear from the northern part of Africa, that is Egypt. And without this place, without this source, I don't think this life would have been 100% functional. Because this Kemet, I think this is what the Orthodox people believe in. Kemetrics, their system of worship, that was taken from Egypt. So all these things are what I'm saying is just to make you understand that there is no way we can fully function without us going back to our roots.
Okay. So, so I want to ask you. We talked about the year of return, which was a very great idea. What do you think about the return of our African American people and the diasporan people in general? Because we talk about African Americans because it's commonly spoken about, but let's not forget we got more blacks, you know, in Brazil than in America, and I'll even say in Latin America than in America. So we are not leaving anybody out. Sorry for the noise. We are not leaving anybody out, but we're just talking about the people we get more into contact with, because as Africans, we go more to the States than to Brazil. You understand? But everybody, this is all about us, like you said. So, what do you think about our people coming back to Africa? What's your take on that? The decision they've taken to start coming back home.
Hey, this is a groundbreaking decision. It's historical. And I think this year of return shouldn't be a year of return. It shouldn't be, as the caption says, it should be a season or an era in which we all finally go back home and settle. We need to build up a system. And without you, brother or sister, being a part of it, this will hardly come to pass. We are talking about blackness. We are talking about the rise of the black race because we are at war. We are at war with almost every other race.
A war we didn't
We need,
start.
that is it. We need to come together and build up a system that will function for us. I'm going to give you an example. With the Chinese people that we know, they've overtaken almost every part of this life. Their children have a system. They have a community that they always run back to for provision of jobs, health, facility, and whatsoever, insurance. But we don't have. And this is the system that we are talking about. And this cannot be built out of your own soil. You need to come back to the roots and be connected. The one thing that I can always say, that I can only say to you guys is this. There's going to be no greater joy for you to die in the arms of your brother than to die in a foreign land. Come back home. Support your own. Empower your own. Sponsor your own. Bro, I have a problem. I have a problem with some of these our entertainers. I should say this. Gucci has nothing to give you. Versace has nothing to offer you. Stop giving your money away. Stop giving your resources away to other people.
Who don't care about you?
Look at our brothers in Nigeria. I always say these guys are blessed, but they give it away to other people. Their source of income is from us. We sponsor their shows. We give them endorsements. We invite them abroad. We buy tickets for them. We give them money. And when they go back home, where does the money go? It goes to Versace. It goes to Lamborghini. It goes to all those things that care less about them. They take money from us and give it back to other people. This has got to change. Does it mean that in the whole of Africa, in the whole of Latin America, where we have our black brothers and sisters, there is no single designer that can do something that contests Gucci?
Or even in America, don't we have African Americans that own luxury brands?
So why should we feel so successful or feel okay? It is only when we put on this that makes us arrive. We have got to think. Come back home, brother, and set it up, and let's give you that sponsorship, that promotion that you need. We love you with all our hearts.
Most definitely. And one thing I must precise is Nigeria. Some people sometimes crack jokes on Nigerian movies. Nigerian movies started like me now doing an interview with my brother on the phone. I mean, they took whatever they had to make something out of it. We didn't have any distribution companies. The distribution companies, the only source of distribution we had was Alaba, which were normal business people that used to sell bootleg CDs, but they had the raw cash. So when you shot your video or your song, you had an album, you went there and they bought it cash. They give you money and they promote your album and everything, and your career takes off. We didn't have no Warner Music. They didn't care. But now I see a lot of them rushing to Africa to sign young, talented kids. And since they don't know any better, they're signing all the slave deals. Nigerian music industry was built by a bunch of people. We had designers. And back then, our artists would wear a lot of African-made designers, Nigerian-made designers, even jewelers. You understand? You could check out the Banch song with Snoop Dogg, Endowed. We had a Nigerian jeweler that was sponsoring the bench, but now we don't even hear about him. So are we going to continue complaining about what the Westerners are doing to us, or are we going to realize we are at a certain level the part of our problems? We've got to realize that and understand we don't even patronize our own thing, and that's very bad. Now, when you look at all the top artists in Nigeria that were supported by the Nigerian medias, Nigerians help build, they only give interviews to international magazines and all these people that they didn't care about them. You understand? That they didn't care. I don't need to give names, but they only talk to international medias. They despise the Nigerian medias that are growing very fast, that are doing very well, but they think they are not of their level anymore. And I think that's a very, very wayward way of thinking, and that's something we need to cast out of our community. So, what do you think about the impact of our people coming back home? Do you think this could be something that brings a plus to to the growth of Africa? Do you think this is the missing, secret to the sauce that will help Africa, propel to the world stage in a grand fashion?
these people coming back home, a lot of skill is coming back home because amongst these beloved people are people with a lot of potentials. There is this principle that these Westerners use in Africa, and it's still very, very applicable today: divide and rule. We've been divided. But if all these great minds are put together in a common space, give me one reason why Africa won't be great again. They will never be appreciated where they are. They will never be loved where they are. But coming back home speaks of love. Coming back home speaks of you being acknowledged and loved for who you are. Because you look like me, I look like you. Bro, it is an opportunity, like I always say. It is going to be huge and it's going to be great. Look at what this brother is doing in Senegal, Akon. Isn't that great for that's just one person coming back? Look at what he's doing. Then if they all come back in their number, do you know the impact that they are going to create back home with their skills, their finances? We have these skills. But what most of us are lacking is a system and the finance to change things. But if they are back home with the awareness, the exposure that they have, we are going to change the system. And that is the growth that we are looking at.